Okay, let's deal with some of your inquiries and the questions and the comments. Many times the comments and the questions that come in are the most interesting and really help to inspire sometimes some more nuanced and detailed studies on our part, as well as teaching us and helping to further inform us of other aspects of what we've been talking about and teaching and everything like that. So we give thanks for some of the comments and questions, and a lot of the personal messages. Unfortunately, we're not always able to get to all the personal messages, and there's many of them that really is beyond our ability to be consistent with putting out the teachings and with preparing this generation and giving our people the spiritual, the psychological, and ultimately the physical, the physical confidence, the metaphysical confidence that we need in order to proceed and overcome what many of our ancestors, for at least the past, I don't know how many generations it's been, you understand? Some people say it's from 4 to 14. It's about 14 or so generations that cover this 400 years. Some would say 40 generations, but you go do the math. So the first comment of some of the most recent comments, and there's full-time dabble also, we want to deal with your comments, and then we'll make a response to my science now. Some back and forth and everything that I think was maybe misunderstood. But anyway, first we're going to deal with Bingy Princess. Bingy, wait, is it Bingy Prince or Bingy Princess? Excuse me, if my bad, Bingy Prince. It might be Bingy Prince, at least Prince 8, Prince 81. So we just deal with this brother or sister, no disrespect, but we know people use a lot of codes and names and everything else like that. But Bingy Prince 81, in a comment and a response to Makata's father, this is a continuation of the Makata's father point. See how most of these points, they kind of dovetail into other points. So sometimes in choosing a particular topic or subject matter, we have to keep in mind that many times these subject matters tend to scroll into other subject matters. So we only got like a couple of minutes left in this particular poll. So let's get right into Bingy Prince 81. Brother Yarden, and many thanks on the info about Agabo or Agabos. This Habesha topic is very fascinating. The word Abyssinian has always sounded suspect to the eyes. And that's true. You know, words sound in power, pick sense out of seeming nonsense. So you just look at the word Abyssinian. But anyway, let's not give it away. Let's just go through Bingy Prince 81 comment. The Arabic language has always kept Hamites down. Take, for instance, the word abd or abid or abd, meaning worshipper or blacks. But in early ancient Arabic, it means slave. Some Muslims consider the Arabic language to be the language chosen by God to speak to mankind. But Jah will never give nor inspire negative, wicked, and corrupt language to describe his people. Why would one adopt or inherit a foreigner's derogatory title to describe themselves? And now here's where the real punchline, I think, about the Abyssinian question, especially to I as a Rastafari, I mean in the fullness, not abbreviated, unabbreviated Rastafari. All who continue to call themselves Abd or Abid, Habesha, and Abyssinian will continue to be lost in the abyss. Jah live. And that point right there, I think, really kind of covers it on based on, I mean, there's a lot you can really, we did a whole series of research just to back up what we already knew and what we thought we knew. And we confirmed a lot, as well as we learned a lot of extra stuff. And if we could just do a lecture, you understand, to really go through some of the details of what we found out and very interesting points, and Jah willing, Yahweh Yeray, we will get into some of those topic matters. But I think the overstanding of it, needs to be addressed. First of all, Abyssinian is suspect. We understand and we learn where the whole idea of Habesha Abyssinian come from. Yes, there were certain tribes which was believed to call themselves the Habeshat or so forth and so on. But these tribes who called themselves that were individual different tribes. So brother, I think it was Thutmose, had made a comment on the other page where he made a comment concerning Menes or Namer, how he united, not black and white, but how he united basically different tribes, different peoples, different families in order to create what we know as ancient Egypt. I like that point because it was accurate, but it also shows us something very important. Now, this whole question about Arabic. Now, Arabic is a big language type, a big category. A lot of people don't understand that the Arabic that's in Quran or Al-Quran is different than the Arabic that's spoken in every other so-called Arabic and Muslim country. I mean, for example, look at the Iranians. The Iranians may speak Arabic, you know, in their religious, on the religious level, but they actually speak Urdu and they're Persian. They're Persian and not Arabs. But a lot of us come from this perspective. You see somebody that's a Muslim or Muslim or whatever, Mohammedan, Musulman, or whatever the names that they may call themselves or are called, we say that they all are just speaking Arabic. That's all the Arabic thing, because we don't understand the nuances. It's like somebody from another part of the world come over to America and they hear how different people up north, down south, and they go to England, how different people speak English. You understand? And if we study English, we find that it's the Gaelic. People speak the Gaelic, you know, this Gaelic language, and there's an older version. If you go and study books, there's different versions of it. So this was the reason why Shakespeare, for example, came up with the Shakespearean style in order to unite the linguistics, and to unite the linguistics of the English and the Anglo people. We have Shakespearean English, and from that we get the Queen's English. A very important point about the Arabic. There's a lot of important points about the Arabic language, but we wanted to comment on the Abyssinian point, and to Bingy Prince 81. And we love the comment. It's not that the Arabic language has kept blacks down. I think we need to make a point that the original Arabs, and this is probably another video, another teaching right here, but the original Arabs, or Arab people, were Hamites. So this is what we need to understand. The original people were, we're not talking about just Ishmael. You see, you have to understand that before Ishmael, there were other peoples who inhabited what's known as Arabia. So the original Arabs were actually Cushitic people. I think we're dovetailing now into a whole nother, not just yet, no, we're still queued under 10, or Bigefa Asaran Dekik Ouch, in other words, to keep it under 11 or so minutes so we can put this into a video. But to respond to you is that it's not so much the Arabic language, it's the Bedouin, not the Arabic language that has kept Hamites down, but it's the Bedouin. And what's interesting for those who are Muslim or those who know Quran, you know that there's a surah, I think there's a surah, a chapter that actually an ayat, a verse that touches on the Bedouin. The Bedouin are kafiruna. This means that they conceal what they know to be true. So the Bedouin have made everybody think that this is what the abd means black, to say slave, because the Bedouin or the pale Arabs have oppressed the black Arabs. The pale Arabs pushed the original Ahlul Bayt out of Arabia, across the Eritrean Sea, and into Sudan. So when we look, if we want to look at what is the family of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you understand? If you want to see what the real family, what the real racial type of Muhammad was, look at the Sudanese. The Sudanese people, especially the Sudanese Muslims, they consider themselves Arabs, not African. That's what the whole thing about the persecution of Dafur. Some of the Dafur situation is a little bit complicated, especially to many of us over here in the West. mainly because we do not understand some of the nuances of history. History, or really our story, is important, but then you have some black folks who really don't think that it doesn't really matter history. They talk about just dealing with spirituality, and you don't have to really deal with any history. That's a folly point as well. You understand? Because if you need to what is your story, or what is the story of those who preceded, came before you? If you don't understand what their story is, then you're dealing with a mystery or confusion or chaos. You need to understand history is very important. And yes, history is important with spirituality. You know what I'm saying? History is very important. I know what Brother Walter Williams said, and we're going to address that too, because this kind of dovetails into the other comment by Fat Stacks, as well as it connects with Full-Time Dabbler.